Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Off-Road Hub. After my 2-week break, I've been on vacation, but I'm back now, and I had a good time. I feel refreshed and ready to get back to tackling my solid axle swap. So if you saw my live stream a few weeks ago, you may recall that I put out a call for people to come to Rexburg, Idaho and give me a hand on this build because, you know, I need 4 or 6 hands to get this thing done. A lot of the time. And I had someone answer that call, and it's Ken from Oregon. How do you like that? Another Ken here in the little garage. Ken drove here from Oregon in his 2018 Toyota Tacoma. It's got a little lift on it. Has it got 33-inch tires?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's a good looking truck. I like that color a lot. What do they call that? Is that sand? Quicksand?
Quicksand, yeah.
Quicksand? So that's pretty cool. He's a Tacoma guy. Today, for this video, I'm gonna go over some of the things I've been working on. Ken and I put in quite a bit of work yesterday on the rear axle to get that thing pretty much done. And I'll show you that at the end of this video. And then also, here are my new oil lines. When we get done with the main thing I'm gonna talk about today, we'll talk about those oil lines, and I'll show you my rear axle. It's now movable. It's off the jack stands. Well, it's on the jack stands right now, but we can take it off the jack stands and I'll show you how it moves. So I've covered a lot before about my snorkel and the issues that I had with the ARB Safari snorkel. And, you know, I put these big holes in the fender, and it kind of dented up my fender because I dragged it and hit it on things. Anyways, the intake is right here behind this hole. So this is the factory intake that I reinstalled. If you look up in here, you can see that's where all the air goes in. And so with my solid axle swap, I'm not going to have any plastic liner here. And so all the dirt and mud is going to go right up here directly into the intake. So that is not going to work. So I've been thinking about and trying to figure out what I want to do for an air intake. And I didn't want to put on the Safari snorkel again just because I don't like how it's out here on the outside of the fender. It just seems to get in the way too much. So I went on eBay and I've got this box that came all the way from Kazakhstan. This is one of those low profile snorkels that goes under the fender and then up on top of the roof here. So yeah, let's open up this box and see what we got from Kazakhstan. So there's not much in the box, just these 2 big plastic pieces. The piece that goes under the fender here, and then the piece that goes up on the roof. And they've got their company name here on this piece. It's called Offroad Garage. So yeah, this is the Offroad Garage snorkel. They're not called Offroad Garage on eBay. I'll have to look and see what their name was on eBay. It wasn't that, but yeah, Offroad Garage. And then other than that, the only thing that came in the box was this hardware kit with this bracket and some screws and washers and stuff. No instructions. I'll have to go online and see if there are some instructions. It's probably pretty self-explanatory, but I gotta see if there's some instructions. All right, I don't have any instructions to print out, but we found them online, so we'll just look at the laptop and reference that as we tear into this thing. So I gotta get this antenna out of the way. And then I'm gonna have to take this panel off, and hopefully I don't need those clips that hold this panel on, because you know those are gonna break. Oh, big surprise, my antenna's not totally straight. I think this thing just pops off here. With some difficulty. There we go. Those are really stuck on. There we go. These plastic clips. This one didn't break. And this one did. And these ones did as well. I don't know if I'm going to be reusing those or not, though. We'll see. There we go. There it is. So now you can see even better. Here's the intake, and the wheel's going to be right down here. So that's obviously not good. All right, so when you order a snorkel from Kazakhstan, you don't get really any instructions. It's pretty terrible instructions. We got to drill some holes in this somewhere and put these brackets onto that somewhere, and then bolt those brackets up to here somewhere. I need to remove this. It doesn't say to do that, but it's obviously in the way. So this is supposed to, let me see here. Trying to hold the camera and the snorkel at the same time. So this is supposed to go up here like this, but obviously this little piece of plastic is, this piece of metal right there is in the way. And then yeah, we got to try to figure out how to get it bolted up there with the little brackets they provided. The instructions just say, apply sealant to junction connector and inlet air openings. It has little arrows and stuff, but it doesn't actually show you where they go. And the instructions seem to be translated from Russian, or I assume, and they're not very detailed at that. But we're gonna figure this out. I think we're gonna remove this and then just kind of engineer this and figure out how to make it fit. Okay, that fits in there tighter now. So here's where we're at with this thing. Getting it to fit is no small task, let me tell you. Ken and I went to the hardware store and we picked up this PVC reducer. There's a 4-inch intake on the box here. The thing from the snorkel is a 3-inch. And that door just blew open. So now that fits on there pretty perfectly. And I put the air box in here like this. Oh, come on. There we go. You can see that it sticks out there nicely. And then this piece right here, it goes right on here, just like you'd expect. It locks into the air box, just like you'd expect. And it looks like it fits up there pretty well. But in reality, there's really nowhere to bolt it down. There aren't any holes in this right here. So we're gonna have to drill holes and then make up some brackets to go into made up spots on the body. There's just nothing here. It's kind of crazy. So what we're actually gonna do is reuse, where'd that bracket go? We're gonna reuse this bracket that we actually took off of here that was in there like that. We're gonna repurpose this and mount it, since it's got a nice weld nut right here, we're gonna mount it right here and actually use this as a bracket to support this. And then we'll figure out also how to put another little bracket right over here. But other than that, there aren't really any real instructions, and so we just gotta kind of make this up as we go. There we go. All right, guys, we're making some real progress here, but it's definitely a challenge. Here you can see it's plugged into the airbox, and then we've got our repurposed bracket under here, bolted under the body, and then screwed into the snorkel. And then over here, another bracket bolted up to the body and screwed in. And so it feels really solid now. It's not going anywhere. This is the part that goes under the fender, of course. So now we have to get this part to fit on there, which is going to be no small undertaking, because the part that mates up to this on the top part, turns out right there, is actually quite a bit larger than this. You would think, oh, since it's this shape, it would all fit together like it, but it doesn't. It's much larger than this, so we have to find a way to seal this. And also, I'm going to have to do something about this light bracket. I think we might put some spacers on it. That was Ken's idea, to raise it up to get it out of the way of the top part that goes right here. So we will figure this out. We are, to get to this point, I mean, we've spent a few hours tinkering with this thing. So it's definitely not a bolt-up kit that I'd recommend for most people to do, honestly. But I did need a solution to get air out of this, to not have air coming in right here. That's obviously, I can't do that. That's no good. So we're making progress, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I've got some spacers installed under here, so this light bracket is a lot higher now. So I think this part of the snorkel will fit under here, and it'll come up here. And I don't have a roof rack. I have these caps that cover where a roof rack would mount. I had to wipe this dust off because this is all grinding dust up here. Anyways, so the snorkel actually ties into this mounting point up here. So yeah, we'll see if we can make it fit. All right, Ken and I were so close to getting this thing installed, but we've definitely found some issues, and I've contacted the eBay seller to try to figure out a resolution. Hopefully he responds very soon. So the issues are that, let's see, this sticks up, well, I'll go up to the top here and show you. So this bracket is supposed to bolt into here, and the bracket attaches to the top of the snorkel right here. But if I pull this over and attach this, nothing fits. And there's little screws on the bottom of this snorkel head right here that hit the roof and, of course, scratch the paint off. So it's the way that this is designed, it is literally impossible with what came with this snorkel to hook it up and not have screws scratching your roof. And besides that, if I pull this over and bolt it down, which I did earlier, all this gets popped up and out of kilter, and you can't open the hood anymore because it hits this. Yeah, and then there's these two big bolt holes which are supposed to connect the top and bottom portions. This hole doesn't really go to anything back here of any substance, and this is just a bolt. You're supposed to stick this big old screw in this hole and just screw it through the bottom portion into this fiberglass. The connection, besides these two screws, which is the connection between the top and the bottom, the actual air connection between the top and the bottom, the size difference in the connection is ridiculously huge. We stuffed some weather stripping foam in there, and I think it kind of almost sealed. but really cheesy. And for the price of this snorkel, just unbelievable. Unbelievable lapses in quality. So, and not to mention, I mean, this where it connects to the airbox is a 3-inch opening, where the airbox actually has a 4-inch opening. So you have to get a reducer, which is not included. You have to go out and buy a reducer from your plumbing supply and put that in there. Why? How does that even happen? Anyway, so I've contacted the seller, and I'll let you know what he says. Like I said, Ken and I yesterday did a bunch of work on the rear end of the vehicle, and right now I'm going to show you what we got done back there. So we got the rear drive shaft installed. That's not permanently installed, but it's in place. And also you can see the gas tank is in place. There's not a ton of clearance between the gas tank and the Atlas, as you can see. That was a point of curiosity for me, and probably for other people that are interested in putting an Atlas in their FJ Cruiser. But plenty of clearance on the drive line, plenty of space there, so it's not going to hit the gas tank. And we got a panhard bar mount over here on the axle that I'm finally pretty happy with. That's going to be great. Goes across there. Looks good. I put on my Rough Stuff Products differential cover back here. It's made of 1/4 inch steel. I wanted to get that on there so that I could be sure my clearance was fine with the panhard. And the axle goes up and down now. Let me show you that. So there you go. It goes up and down. Pretty cool, huh? I'm pretty stoked about that. To have that axle be able to do that, I mean, that's pretty exciting. There's no interference except for when the entire axle is jacked all the way up. There's this third link gets close to this frame piece here and leaves about I don't know, inch or so, inch and a half of up travel wasted on this side. But that doesn't happen when either side is all the way down and the other side is all the way up. That only happens when the entire axle is lifted all the way up, which probably won't really happen much while I'm driving. So I'll have to put some bump stops right here. Pretty minimal. We got, for all practical purposes, basically all the travel out of these 14-inch coilovers. So that is pretty awesome. So I've decided with this snorkel that I'm going to take it off. It's unacceptable. The lack of quality is completely unacceptable. This is not going to stay on my vehicle. Let me just take you up to the top again, just to remind you, this is the bracket. If you connect it, it's gonna scrape up the roof. It already did, actually, because there's screws on the bottom of it. Now, I contacted the seller and he said, rotate the snorkel clockwise and you can raise this off the roof. Well, that sounds great and all. But as soon as you do that, this hole that you're supposed to put a screw in and hold these two halves together, it doesn't line up with anything. It's empty space back there, so you can't put a screw in there. So let me lift this off of here and show you one of the more systemic failures of this snorkel is this connection right here. We put some weather stripping on here in some kind of futile attempt to get this to seal, because this opening right here is much smaller than this opening right here. I don't know why it's this strange shape. It doesn't accomplish anything, but there is, I don't know, a solid ½ inch gap all around this when you try to hook it up here. So I don't care how much silicone you put on here, this part is never ever going to have a really good seal. And since you can't connect it there, I don't know what's going on here. Totally bad. Let's see, the custom bracketry, it's okay, but this is really thin fiberglass, this material here. So these screws are screwing into this material, which is probably at most a couple millimeters thick. So if you unscrew these and put these in repeatedly, or over tighten them at all, or put any stress on them, these screws are not going to be able to hang on to this really thin fiberglass material. And then the final problem, major problem with this snorkel, this where it connects to the intake, that's 3 inches, and the intake is 4 inches. So I had to go to the hardware store and buy a PVC reducer, which I had to modify to get this to even fit on there. Oops. And then for one thing, why are we reducing from 4 to 3 inches? And another thing, in the description of the product, it says it comes with the adapter to go to the intake, but it doesn't. You've got to go to the hardware and buy something to try to make it work. Let's see, is there anything else, Ken? Any other problems with this thing that I didn't mention? Yeah, it's just, the seller saw my bracket here and tried to blame the whole thing on the fact that I have this bracket here, but this wasn't in the way of anything. So yeah, the off-road garage snorkel for the 2010 plus FJ Cruiser. I'm not negative on products typically, but you know, after you pay for shipping from Kazakhstan, $600 roughly, that is not a $600 product. That's something I would expect to be $100 maybe on eBay, but it's just horrible all the way around, and I wouldn't recommend getting one. So, other than the snorkel, I'm still making good progress on the back there. And then I also got these oil lines, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, for my remote oil filter. So these are steel braided lines with a nylon braid on the outside with AN10 fittings on either end with different angles. These lines are rated to like 600 PSI, so the 40 to 60 PSI oil pressure from the FJ shouldn't be too big of a problem. And here's what those lines look like hooked up to the filter. Go right down here, and they end up hooked up to the new adapter that I had made, and then go right up to the frame. I'll probably throw some zip ties on those, but it's not gonna hit the fan or anything like that, and it's not in the way of anything else. So much better than the original factory oil filter that was hanging down and in the way. Alright guys, I haven't forgotten the checklist that I introduced a few videos back, and we're going to start making some progress on here. For today, we can check off rear coilovers. Those are done. And then on Thursday, you're going to see we're going to get going on these front coilovers, and hopefully, no, not the front coilovers, the front 3-links. We're going to get the front 3-links going, hopefully have that 3-link done for you by Thursday. And then the rest of this. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, so I can share new content with you every Monday and Thursday I'm back Monday and Thursday now. Don't worry, back to regular scheduled programming. Thanks to Ken, he's hiding over here. Coming all the way down from Oregon to give me a hand. He's been a big help. It's great to not have to jump up out of underneath the vehicle every time I need some little thing, and he's even grinding for me. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you on Thursday.